Every government wants some amount of money to actually run their government, run their system of governance too. Now, coronavirus pandemic has brought down revenues of the central government and also the state government. And especially for state government, it has been a very, very tough time because most of the revenues that is collected as GST gets to the center and only some amount of money is actually devolved. That is 42% of the money is devolved to the states, which is good. But at the same time, the other part of money is delayed actually. And for that reason, the government of India has, specified some of the conditions for the states to borrow an extra amount of money from the market, and those conditions are on the basis of 200 basis points. Now, out of these 200 basis points, 50 basis points is unconditional, which means there is no requirement for you to maintain some kind of acceptance from the market. You are allowed to go and borrow it. The other 150 basis points has four conditions, and if four conditions are satisfied, the state governments can actually go ahead and borrow from the market, and the central government will be the surety for these state governments. Now, what are those conditions? The first and foremost is implement one nation one ration card scheme, and you are allowed and you are going to get 25 basis points of weightage. So the first condition would be ticked off if you follow this condition and if you implement it in a very good spirit, because West Bengal hasn't invested or isn't invested itself in implementing this one nation one ration card scheme. So that's first condition. The second condition is, you'll have to augment the urban local body revenues. Yes, if you augment the urban local body revenues, which means if you give more amount of money to municipal corporations and the panchayats, we will give you another 25 basis points advantage, and we will weigh you to almost 50 basis points now from the one nation one ration card to the urban local body revenues. The third one is another 25 basis points, which says that ease of doing business schemes and ease of doing business kind of rules and regulations needs to be implemented and allowed companies to actually work in a very efficient manner. And certain kind of guidelines are there for allowing ease of doing business, and that is something that you will have to implement. So, right. So, because only when you are going to implement some kind of industry friendly policies and industry friendly rules, then only the industries can come down there and actually start implementing. So Uttar Pradesh is doing a fantastic job in doing it, because probably 2022 elections are quite closer now, and they will be very enthusiastic in implementing all of these things because it has to showcase it to the people. But West Bengal should actually start investing on the one nation one ration card scheme, and because now that elections are over, I don't know how far it's going to implement these things, but hopefully Mamata Banerjee led government will actually implement it in good spirit. On the fourth point is very important, that is the power distribution. Yes, the power distribution companies needs to be given some amount of incentives and also allow them to operate in a very good manner. And the power distribution companies are one of the worst affected companies. The legalities, the amount of money that they are in debt is huge. So these are those four conditions that they'll have to rectify themselves, and if these four conditions are rectified, that is, each point gets 25 basis points and almost 100 basis points satisfaction is achieved. The remaining 50 basis points will be given if any of these three, at least any of these three conditions are met. The remaining 50 basis points will be given out for extra borrowing from the stipulated borrowing. Right. So this is some kind of conditions that the state central government has come out in giving out to the states an opportunity to go and borrow in the market because of the fiscal deficit issues. Right. So yes, it's a good opportunity for the central government and the state government to work together and move ahead in this democracy.